is it for you? Is it for the audience?
I always looked at it as for the audience. That's because I look at the whole title actually as kind of purposeful for the audience, because we're there. That's how like I feel like we hook you in, as we entertain. That's how we get everyone listening, as we put on a good show. You put on just interesting music. You know what I mean? So that's where the entertainment comes in. But the visionary thing is just like because I think of a visionary as someone who's got a plan and to be kind of legendary in a way. You know what I mean? So in visionary, like I was I'm still a huge Logic fan, but we were big Logic fans at the time, and of course that was a big influence on it. You know what I mean? Much love to visionary music.
Yeah, but I mean putting those two together is like entertainment, meaning anything, just trying to pull you in, and then the visionary kind of like trying to give us as well, most importantly, the people hope. You know what I mean? We try and just give them as much as we can. Like you can do these kind of things. You can do whatever you want. You just need to put all the work for it. Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like we embody hope just as much as the music part of it as well.
All right. So if you guys blow up, what would you tell future audience who found you because you blew up, not just because you know them personally here in town?
Man, that I know a big thing for a lot of people is when they're underground, they love to keep that underground spirit. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people, fans of the underground, like to keep them. You know what I mean? Under wraps. You know what I mean? I don't want a lot of people to know about them because I found them first, what have you. But no, I think for people finding us after the fact like that, after whatever it is, after album, 2 albums, you know what I mean? After a world famous song, I think it's I think you can't say anything but thank you for listening to my music.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything to be upset about at all. I think it's an honor that someone in fucking 3, 4, 5 states away, you know what I mean? Really fucking huge.
And some people they can embody the whole underground so well, but once they go into larger streams, you know what I mean? They become bigger. They either sometimes forget their roots, or don't know how to handle that higher tier of recognition. So it's I feel like we embody that underground spirit so well right now, but it's the really hard test would be to see if we can keep that pillar high by keeping humble and by keeping our roots, because every fan is so important to us. There's not one time when anybody would come up to either one of us and be talking to us and be fuck it.
Yeah.
We love fans. We love our fans.
I can do that.
So what is your personal definition of the underground aesthetic of rap?
Man, well, I think it could be whatever you want it to be.
Under the underground underdog story kind of thing. You know what I mean? Having to push through so much just to get a little bit of recognition, or just to get so far. You know what I mean? J. Cole is a great example of someone who was in the underground but is not anymore. We were just talking about this today, right?
Yeah.
Where he just releases something he just announces he's gonna release something in a week, and hundreds of thousands of people will still buy it just like that, just because he's J. Cole.
Yeah. I think I feel the rappers who, because you gotta admit, there's some artists who just blow up overnight, never really had a chance to be underground. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know what I mean? They just had a, good agency, good whatever it was, you know what I mean? And that's good for them. But a lot of artists who are have been underground or are known for being underground, there's Tech Nine and rappers like that, very talented people, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think but I gotta say the people who were underground before, at one time, their fans are so loyal, and I think that's probably the one thing that makes an underground artist a true artist is their fan base. They they love them, you know what I mean? They love the music, you know what I mean? Otherwise they wouldn't have found them, you know what I mean, through SoundCloud or whatever it is that, any streaming service where you look for underground rappers, Reverb Nation, places like that, so I think their fan base is are probably the most loyal and the most loving.
And we've also talked about that before. I've told everybody in the group before, like, you know, branding comes first, and our brand encompasses that. You know, we stay true to what we mean. You know, and we try and you know tell people that we're important by not saying it, I guess, but more embodying that we care about you.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to sell you anything. We're trying to give you something of value.
Yeah.
That's why.
Like, it's, you know, and I think another thing for people, future fans, present fans, that they got to realize is you're just as important as we are. You're just as important. You can do anything you want. It doesn't matter what it is, you know. And I know that sounds corny and that sounds like, you know, something that a lot of people talk about, but it's true. You know, it's like, you know, it's something that, you know, I think fuels the human soul. You know what I mean? And to just be the best person you can be. So I think, you know, that's something that we always kind of wanted to, you know, bring out in people. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of dignity to be brought out in a lot of people.
How did it come from, like, what if we became a rap group, to actually going over that threshold of saying we can actually make something out of this? When did that happen?
I think, if you want to go ahead.
Well, I mean, like, I remember we did a talent show first, because I went up to him one day because I always heard him rapping, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a good thing. And I always loved rap. That's all I ever listened to. And ever since like the 8th grade, I remember listening to him like rapping, and I was like, oh shit, that's cool. And then when I remember there was this. I'm gonna say this again. And I've said this in the last interview, but there was this one song where I just vibed with so much because this girl hurt my heart, and I kept replaying it over and over and over again. And then one day it hit me that I can rap this whole thing, like a whole 6.5 minute song, and I was like, damn, that's cool. And then I showed it to him. He's like, damn, dude, you know, like, we're both good at this. We should do like a talent show. And we did a talent show. And do you remember what happened after that?
Yeah, I remember, you know, like, I was terrible at rapping, you know, like 12, 13 years old, but he liked it. He thought I was pretty okay at it, and you know, same with him. You know, I knew he had a drive for it. He something I had never, you know what I mean? So I always liked rapping, but at that time I didn't think of it as something I could possibly do as a career. It wasn't until he came up to me like, hey man, you're pretty fucking good at that, you know what I mean? And so yeah, you know, just kind of for fun at the time, like barely for that, you know what I mean? Just something I did every now and again. And then at that time I wasn't even into modern hip hop of like what was famous at the time. It just wasn't. But then I started listening to, you know, Kendrick, J. Cole, guys like that, Drake, and, you know, became, you know, kind of more familiar than with what the sound was at the time. And you know, I started working on, you know, just freestyles and stuff like that. And yeah, I came to him, and I remember at the time, it was actually a little after it was popular, it was Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar. Off The Good Kid. That
came out in 2013. We started rapping in 2014. So about a year.
Yeah, about a year later. Yeah. And but still, that song. I think that song is still the shit. Like, no matter what. And it was like the only song that we knew. Like
together.
Like collectively. Like, we had never wrote anything together. But I was like, yeah, man, you want to do a talent show? You want to fucking rap a Kendrick song? And sure enough, we did. And it was fun. We got a lot of love for that. A lot of people thought it was pretty cool.
But we vibed like so well. Like from the jump, like it was just like, like good criticism, you know what I mean? Like, hey man, this is good, but I feel like you could do a little bit better.
Yeah. And that was, you know, that was that. It was toward the end of the year, and we thought, yeah, this is gonna be pretty cool. And even then, we weren't really dead set on anything. At the time, it took a couple more months. I don't think it was till later that summer that we really started to try to hit the ground running.
Because we did some SoundCloud songs from your phone.
Yeah, at the time I had a really, you know, cheap phone, and I was just recording stuff. Because SoundCloud had I don't know if it's available like on iPhones, but I know at the time on Androids you could it had like a recording option. You could record stuff off your phone, and I was finding beats off YouTube. I had an Xbox, so you could hear the bloop when I would, you know, and you could hear my paper turning and stuff like that. And I had to get it all in one take. It was never like a, you know, what would I say? It was never like I could do
like
it
a take
cuts.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I always had to do it in one take. It was either fuck up or try again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we were doing that. I got him on one. Well, I did
on Daydreams, wasn't it?
It was Daydreams. It was which became a song off our first album.
Yeah. And
at the time, I was I was just doing singles, remixes mostly to songs I'd liked by different artists, and they were okay. But we did. Then I had him come over, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna move away from the mic, and you're gonna have to do the same exact thing that I just did. So, and that's how our first song was born.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment we knew that okay, this is gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
What would be your primary drive? Would it be to hope to make the song, to expect it, or hope that the song will blow up and you'll become successful from it, or just because it's fun for the arts? Or which side do you see yourself as?
Like between those two options, or just in general?
Like which would you lean more towards?
I gotta say, for me personally, it's on the side that it might blow up, that opportunity, just because the bigger it gets, I feel like the more people you can reach, and obviously the more people will hear it. If it blows up, then it means it's gonna strike at least one person. So, if I could have 2,000 people hear my song, it's
at least like 15, 20 of them are really gonna take that hard.
Yeah.
So even if your songs would only have like 20 plays for over like a month, would you still keep making music?
I mean, I'm doing it right now.
yeah, because I mean, it's an obstacle you just gotta overcome, because it comes with good marketing and good knowing yourself and knowing what you are capable of. Going back to the drawing board and being like, well, was that even my best material? Did that even deserve to go out? You know what I mean? As an underground artist, you don't have anybody really to critique those things. You may have a team around you, like we're blessed to have, to say certain things, but a lot of that stuff you gotta critique it on your own and decide, is this my A game, or is this something I could just pop off in 5 minutes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and me personally, like, going back to your question about, is this for clout, or is this for, hope, and, really trying to make people's,
That's probably like the main question. Is it about the clout?
Yeah. Or is it about, making a difference? And I gotta say, it's right in between, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna lie with you, I love like, like the whole, like, just the glamour, you know what I mean? Like the glamour that music provides, and like, the dream that it gives you. But I also want to change people's lives. Like how music is done for me, I want to change that for other people. And I don't know, like I feel like I've been doing a good job at trying to. I just feel like I need to reach more people, and I'm always trying to like push myself to like, it needs to be more out there. I need to get more people to listen. So, I mean, I've been doing okay, but it could be better.
Yeah, it's just, like he's right. It's definitely, especially with this album, it's super right in the middle. We have a lot of stuff that's like, just, it was fun, you know what I mean? Just to make certain songs, like IDK was just a fucking blast to make, you know what I mean? Most of the album was just having, it came about from having a good time. So I think the clout really just, comes from that. Any clout that we could receive off this album would come from that, that original, feeling of just having fun. But yeah, no, like there's points in it where I'm like, yeah, this is, probably gonna, there's a certain song in the album, I'm not gonna say which, but I feel like it's got an important message to it, and I think it's something that, especially a lot of younger kids who are in high school and stuff, can take home and take into consideration. And I think just stuff like that. It's I think we're just trying to open up eyes to different perspectives to a lot of things, and I think this album has a lot of that.
I feel like both of our single, like our own independent, songs really encompass something
Definitely.
that we really wanted to push.
Yeah,
When has your personal preference in your taste in music hindered your progress?
Like me personally, I feel like, like despite me doing the album I wanted and thinking too much, feeling too little, like, in my own personal story, I did the album I wanted. The beats I thought were good, but it wasn't modern enough. And this is what I'm trying to do with this album, which I felt like I did more, and with my own albums coming up, I'm trying to make it more modern, but still having the same message, and trying to be authentic with it and organic.
I wouldn't say. Actually, yeah, no, I would say that. Like my personal preference for music, it hinders me in a way that, like, I get too caught up. I get kind of lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? I get kind of because I'm super into the braggadocious stuff. You know what I mean? I love talking about having fun, going to the club. You know what I mean? All that stuff. I think it's fun. You know what I mean? And I think it's fun to make that kind of music. But it hinders me because I know what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? I have I understand what I can make. That I can make something that's super meaningful. You know what I mean? And something that people can really take something away from, because I've done it in the past with my solo work. And I think so my preference for liking that kind of music and wanting to make that kind of music hinders me in that I'm just not doing what I'm fully capable of. But I think those two qualities, because I mean, if I think about what I just said, and it's kind of the polar opposite of what he said. You know what I mean? He wanted to make it a little more modern, and I'm pretty modern, but I wanted to make it a little more meaningful. You know what I mean? So I think, but I think those just kind of flow together and become one with this album. I'm super proud of this album just because of that one fact alone.
Yeah, there's so many ways where our duality meets, like, right in the middle.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's always like a pull and a push in a way.
Yeah.
That's always just keeping us centered, like, in a good way.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you feel the contrast in personalities and artistic values would make a good combination for this album.
Definitely.
It always has.
It always has, and I think it's just, but above all, in this album specifically, it's just, it works.
Just like how you can turn Kool-Aid lit by just adding Sprite.
Exactly.
No, you're wrong.
I'm Sprite.
I'm Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.